This is Chris, the Idaho Painter, here on Paint Live TV. Today I'm going to be talking about a subject, and it's why we use tape and a brush to do our cut-ins and not just hand cut everything in by a brush. It's an interesting topic I get a lot of questions about, so stay tuned for this video. So now I want to talk about why we use tape and why we use a brush to do our cut-ins, specifically around our window trim, door jambs, and baseboards. There's a few reasons why, and one of them, there is a labor shortage of painters out there that are available, good qualified painters. There is also the ability to make effective members of your team very quickly and efficiently. And then there's also the element, I just want guys to begin having fun painting right off the bat when they start working for me, so they enjoy the job and they'll stay around for a long period of time. So now I want to talk about the labor shortage there is in painting. I've had the ability to travel all across the US and across the world. I've been all across the United States. I've been to the UK multiple times. I've been to Australia. I've been to Germany several times. And everywhere I go, I've had the ability to sit down with owners of paint companies. And like me, their struggles, number one struggle is quality help and in the trades. And I know I've had, on the back of my vehicle for quite a few years, I've had this now hiring sign. I had one on there, it was stickered, logoed on there for about 5 years, and I was getting almost no calls. I think in 5 years, maybe 2 or 3 calls, to get a job. And there is just a serious lack of labor, skilled labor. It would be nice if I could get a guy, right off the bat that he can take and cut in around here with no masking. It would save me the masking, or cut in ceilings and be just as efficient and effective. But there's just a lack of labor out there in the trades across the world. So what I did is about 15 years ago, because of that, and it's been a long time ago, and I think it's just gotten worse and worse over the years, I turned this method of paint and tape into a method I can teach young kids who have no skill in painting whatsoever. I can teach them how to be effective members of your team right off the bat. And now I'm going to talk about that in this next part of the video. We use several different types of tape. I use, this is CP199, this is our production tape. I use frog tape, which actually has a dusted product on the outside of the frog tape that swells, that keeps paint from bleeding underneath. That's a very effective tape. Frog tape has now come out with a blue tape that's even less than their green tape, significantly less, because it's packaged in contractor packs and the paper is cheaper on it. But these are the 3 tapes I use. But taking a kid, and I can teach them how to mask around, say, like a window like this, or I can teach them how to mask on baseboards really, really quick. And typically, like somebody skilled, maybe 2 weeks at most. Once he can mask a straight line, that's the first step. We'll typically take these kids, college kids, high school kids, hire them, and then teach them how to do the prepping process. So some of that is masking, some of that is caulking, and some of that is sanding. But when it comes to the painting process, I want to teach them how to mask quickly, and you're only as good as your masking. So once they can mask a perfectly straight line, I can teach them how to take a paintbrush and paint over that masking that they just applied on there and back roll over it with a brush right off the bat. And then once they peel that off, they're going to have perfectly straight lines right off the bat. It's an amazing, effective system that you can teach somebody how to be an effective member of your team and ultimately a profitable member of your team, because it really is about taking these kids, taking somebody, teaching them how to use this, and them making you money, because we're all typically, us business owners, we're in this to make money. Now, once again, it's nice if I can hire, a guy, professional, skilled painter that can hand cut all that in, but there's just a lack of those guys out there. Now, when it comes to ceilings, all of our ceiling cut-ins, that's all hand cut in. So still on our team, I can have the apprentices do this type of work. They typically will handle the baseboards, they'll handle the window trim, and they'll handle the door trim. But our supervisor or leads are the ones, they're the skilled painters, skilled with a brush. This takes a lot of years to learn how to cut in. So this system, I'm teaching a kid how to do this literally in about a month. They can create really nice, perfectly crisp lines in a month. But in order to teach them how to do that with a paintbrush, brush, that's probably gonna take somebody about 5 years to learn how to do that, to be really, really effective, efficient, and then get a straight line. And I know this is gonna be an arguable point, but I don't think there's anybody out there that can take a brush. I know I've been, hand cutting in stuff for over 18 years, thousands and thousands of miles, in a line that I've created with, say, frog tape and caulking, or even frog tape on a smooth surface and a brush and paint. It's absolutely laser sharp, and I can never be consistent with my cut in and have it that straight for a long period of time. It's just fast and effective. So it's just making fast and effective members of your team. It's simple. It's something you got to try. Give it a try. Don't knock it until you've tried it.
You know you're going to get a lot of comments that you still can't do a straight line.
I know. So the next thing I want to talk about is taking somebody that's new in the trades and getting them doing this method. It gets them painting right off the bat. And one thing, I'm taking these young kids, high school kids, college kids, and I know I keep saying young all the time. We do hire, people that are coming into the trades even in the mid-30s and stuff, and they're not young high school kids and college kids, just guys getting into the trades that for whatever reason they want to get into the trades, and they're apprentices also. But what I'm trying to do, one of my goals is to get people to come into the trades and really enjoy what they're doing. And I do have a friend that has a painting business here, and what he does is his new apprentices come in and they have to sand for 6 months before they can move on to anything else. And I can't imagine having to block sand with a sanding block. They use sanding blocks in new construction here, and having to do that for 6 months. I think I would probably be burnt out after about 2 weeks and would never want to be involved in painting again. And no, everybody that comes, these young kids that come work for us, they want to start painting. Everybody wants to paint. Everybody wants a brush and a roller in their hand, and everybody wants this spray. And the faster I can get a spray gun in their hand, the more they're going to enjoy what they do, and the more fun they're going to come to work with a smile on their face and just love it. And that's one of my major goals. So I can take a kid, he can start prepping for me, and within 2 weeks he can master straight line. Within a month he can be painting around his straight lines, and now he has a brush and roller in his hand and he's actually painting. And that's the fun part about it. If you have somebody that it's just taking them more time and they're not getting the prepping process done faster, we run into some of those guys every now and then. I think the longest it takes anybody working for us before they start brushing and rolling anything is 3 months, but typically about a month is when somebody can start doing this. Now the skilled painter is going to fill in the wall. The skilled painter is going to do all the hand cut ins. I do use a brush. I know a lot of people think all I do is just tape and caulk everything, and I don't know how to cut in a straight line. I do have about 10 videos, I think, that on how to do cut-ins, teaching how to do cut-ins. So we do use brushes. I do typically doing a lot of ceiling cut-ins. I've done years and years, thousands and thousands of miles of ceiling cut-ins. Like I say, there is a time and a place. Every single job needs that skilled labor, that professional, or that journeyman to do that type of stuff. But once again, I want to make people, happy. I want my employees to come to work happy and enjoy what they're doing and have a long career in this. I know some people are going to say, well, you're going to teach them too much. You're going to teach them how to spray. Then they're going to leave and just be your competitors. That's another thing I never worry about. There's not a lack of work out there. I know we're turning down a lot of jobs, weekly and daily. So there's a ton of work. You just need to know how to go get the work through effective marketing techniques. So, once again, I'm not concerned about teaching them too much and leaving. I have taught quite a few painters out there that have painting companies now in the Valley. They're not my competition. I'm happy for them and thankful that they got the ability to do what they want to do and do what they love to do. So hopefully that will give you some insight about why we do what we do, why we use tape, and why we use brushes. There's a time and a place for these things. There's a time and a place for a brush too. I would say, we probably, we do 50-50. We're probably cutting in stuff about 50% of the time. The other 50% of the time, we're using the tape and brush method. And typically, the apprentices are the ones that are using the tape and brush methods. The journeyman painters, the ones that got a lot more skill on our jobs, they're the ones hand cutting in things. You don't see it simultaneously because we're typically shooting a video specifically only on one subject using one method at that time. I do got some really good videos out there how we use tape, caulking, and a brush to get perfectly straight lines. You can go check those videos out after this video. One of them is just recently done. It's got quite a few videos on it and or quite a few views on it. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give us a thumbs up. If you've got any tips or tricks, if you got any statements or comments about what I've said in this video, just leave it right down below. I would love to hear what you have to say. If you've got any other methods that are different and effective ways to make effective members of your painting team, whatever you want to call it, leave it right down below. And hopefully, once again, you've enjoyed this video, you've enjoyed this talk on the painting subject and the painting trades. Hopefully we'll see you next time on our next video on Paint Life TV. Like we always say, we'll see you in our next video. Out.